aware of it, and then what you feel comfortable with, start finding that information, but we have to make sure that we're not overwhelmed with it. So that's usually how I start the conversation, that it is something that does affect people here in the U.S., but I want them to be prepared but not scared about it.
I mean, I noticed that you're using words such as, you're not using victim, you're not using sex trafficking victim this, victim that, because they're not victims.
Well, they were victimized.
They were
But words become important mostly for them.
And it's usually a fact like, oh, that place is a huge sex trafficking hub right there, and it stops. So what advice would you have, David, about continuing that conversation, kind of pulling a little bit more out?
So there are great places you can go and learn. There's an incredible report done by the governor's office with University of Texas, very detailed, but really shocking numbers on Texas. It's good to know. Regurgitating those numbers to people, not good. I watched a show it was the first time I realized how it was affecting American teens, and my daughter was the age of the person on the screen. A very emotional moment for me. We're like, okay, I can't cope with this information. Jess did it really well there, where you talk a little bit about it, ask people to do a bit of research. It's getting people more and more into the subject, but not giving them everything. So sometimes we want to show them how much we know. Reality is more slavery in the U.S. than in its history ever. Knowing that Katy and the Woodlands have had, sex trafficking rings ran out of houses in normal neighborhoods, that's a good, that happened. What? That happened? Yeah. Cinco Ranch. What? You're shocked about it. I want to do something. Well, that's what we do. We give you something to do, and we talk about doing something. So it's a lot more about the thing you're doing. But it's also slowly socializing you with the subject. There's no one filling out a form for this stuff, right? They're like, are you trafficked? Yes. Are you American? Yes.
Yeah.
If I can make a difference for one, I'm doing my part.
But the thing that moved me is when they told that story about that one girl, you know what I mean? And just, you hear that one story, and that kind of hits you close to home.
I know when I've been around survivors, it's always been about, they're just people, they're just people. Could have been me, and that's the understanding of how people get caught in cults. It's the same thing. They didn't go into this for these things to happen. They didn't plan it.
She had two parents, a loving home.
She thought she chose it.
She thought she chose it. Yeah. And as we're talking, it just naturally was woven into the conversation later as we talked about today and teens and just strippers, Cardi B and different things. And she said, well, I was in the lifestyle, a stripper. I was gang raped, and it's like so shocking. But because we're friends, I'm so glad that I didn't not have that relationship with her because I was afraid to say the wrong thing, because as we've gotten to know each other and build trust, I do look at her as a person.
Someone was a prostitute. That, first of all, that is not who they are. But they were prostituted is the right language. That's
it happened to them.
Someone pushed them and made them do it.